Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Four, bringing you some advice on fantasy football players that we think that you should sell high on. That time is just around the corner. Fantasy playoffs. It's the time. The trade deadline in some leagues is coming up. If you're trying to flip pieces, if you're trying to acquire pieces, now's the time to do it. And we'll chat about some players that we think or don't think that you should sell high on. There has been some debate amongst us, so you'll get to see or hear multiple different perspectives. And then we'll also do a quick little preview of Thursday night football. So that's exciting, Ravens, Miami. But without further ado, let's get into it, right? We're starting off with a bang. Jonathan Taylor comes out on Thursday, scores 33 points. You just sort of assume that he's going to be the running back one on the week. Bang, out of nowhere, James Conner comes in. Chase Edmonds goes down early, puts up 38, right? James Conner through this year, through this point of the year has been very, very solid, right? So he is, I have the numbers here really quickly. Out of the last 6 games, there's only been 2 of them, or one of them, that he has not scored a touchdown. And in 3 of those 6 games, he has scored 2 touchdowns. Chase Edmonds no longer there. There is every reason to just roll with James Conner. Fellas, do you think that he's a sell high, or do you just roll with the hot hand, don't question it, and just stick to your guns here?
Never, just stop trying to sell running backs high. Running back is a wasteland, and if you're lucky enough to have an RB1 for the time being fall into your lap, you kind of just gotta roll with it. Like, it's hard to value running backs right now because of just how few you can rely on, and I just like again, it's not. I don't think is much of a concern. Your name recognition alone is he's not obviously he had that 1 year when he was a league winner. Outside of that though, he's not a Dalvin Cook, he's not a McCaffrey. Off a name alone, you're not gonna be able to sell him for what he's gonna be worth the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna be, as long as we're doing like a sell high, he's probably the number 1 sell high guy this week, just based on the situation he's in. But it really just depends what you're getting offered. I personally wouldn't shop him, and I tend to agree with Zeeb, but it really just depends what you can get in return. I mean, if there's an owner in your league that for some reason does not want to have Conner and doesn't trust on Conner and being an RB1, which he is, and you can flip him, or for not a crazy value, or didn't do it. But I feel like
if someone thinks they're selling him high, but you're not actually buying him high.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to go for. Yep.
I'm gonna argue almost buy low here, even though buy him for fair value, I guess, because you probably can if they don't trust him.
Yeah, I don't think you should, just because of the situation of the running backs, and plus, I mean, a golden situation over the next 3 weeks. So
yeah, no, I agree. I think this is more of he's played well, but he's playing well because he's just going to continue to get the share. So this is, a hold, not a sell.
We talked a little bit about James Robinson last episode. If you are the Conner owner, do you accept James Robinson in exchange for James Conner? A little James swap?
Yeah, but who's doing that? No one's trading running back for running back straight up.
That'd be a weird trade.
That's just
all right. So sorry, who would you rather have?
Robinson.
J-Rob, yeah. Mostly because my infatuation for him.
Also, he's the number 1 guy, regardless of who's in the backfield with him.
That's true. I mean, yeah, Edmonds, especially if you're making a playoff push here, Connor's probably going to solidify himself, and even in playoffs, he'll probably put up points. But J-Rob will be the workhorse in in fantasy playoffs. Connor's not as guaranteed.
I think also maybe depending what league you're in, it would also matter. I feel obviously, I don't know who plays standard anymore, but Connor has much more higher value in standard. But I would hope everyone's in a PPR league.
Yeah.
So
I mean, weeks 15, 16, he has the Lions and the Colts too. So those are a couple good matchups in the playoffs and then in the finals. So and the semifinals. So that's important. All right. So that's that. Next up, 49ers revolving door of a backfield. Elijah Mitchell, fellas. He's been pretty good over the last couple weeks. Jeff Wilson was activated last week, and there was some concern that he was going to come in and take a little bit of the work there. Some people actually thought that he was going to usurp Elijah Mitchell completely. Now, obviously, it's just 1 week, but all that hype translated into approximately 0 carries, 0 targets, and 0 receptions. So what do you guys think about Elijah Mitchell? Are you taking this opportunity to sell high in anticipation of a potential shakeup here with Jeff Wilson? Or are you riding with the hot hand and you just think that he's going to keep this up rest of season?
I know since the owner, I'm going to hop in real quick though. And let him
go
talk.
for it.
It's shocking what Shanahan's doing right now, sticking with one running back. It's mind blowing. But it was Wilson's first game back off an injury.
Is he really though? Michael Hasty's in there for pretty much every third down.
Mitchell had a few targets. Like I know.
Yeah, for the first time.
And like last week, I brought up how Mitchell. I don't think he didn't have a target over the last like 3 weeks. So like that was good to see. That was definitely good to see for Mitchell. Wilson might get a little involved, but like it's not like Sermon was getting involved either. Just
Wilson will probably get involved because Hasty got injured last week.
true actually.
So, and I'm taking this off of Reddit. It was a negative game script because 49ers were playing from behind, and he did get receiving work, which is
That
great
was-
to see
that was
as
the
an owner.
thing.
And I know that's the
Yeah.
point I know you're trying to make.
I brought up last week how they just kept getting positive game scripts and it was helping
Yep.
Mitchell. If they ever got a negative one, he might be fucked because he was going to
Yeah,
target.
he had 5 targets last
And
week.
there was a negative game script and was fine.
Yeah, and so I keep saying stop selling RB1s when you have one because you're never going to get fair value because of how fucked the running back landscape is. Stents like you might be an exception because of your running back situation, but still, like, I don't think it's ever worth trading an RB1.
Yeah, and I was hinting on a little bit like negative game script. He ran 30 routes last week. He was targeted 5 times. Sermon, he's not going to play. He was a healthy scratch. Wilson played 0 snaps last week. He'll probably get more involved because Hasty got injured, and I don't really know what the update is there. And then as Zee pointed out, it's pretty shocking. And like the total number is 88.9% was a majority of the rushes out of the backfield going to Mitchell. So, I mean, I feel like you never know with the Shanahan team, and this is a very interesting situation, but I feel like it's a tough one because also the quarterback situation isn't exactly fluid. And
Yeah.
Ranges look good.
What's that?
Ranges look good though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And
Yeah, but
I
they
feel
keep
like
losing.
Yeah, I don't know. I running backs are such a commodity. It's a similar thing as we've been talking about. I feel like he does have a very high ceiling as an RB1. So
Yeah.
what do you think, Ethan?
Yeah, I would just keep riding with it. I know, like we've mentioned before, that the Shanahan backfield is always a minefield at some points, but it seems like Mitchell has been clear in a way the best running back in that bunch, and I think Shanahan realizes that. He recognizes that.
Yeah.
Sneakily on the hot seat coach, I think, if they keep losing like this.
If you take
Definitely wants
away
to-
his one really
Super
good
Bowl,
Super Bowl
yeah.
year, he's like an awful record.
Yeah, him and John Lynch should really be getting more heat than they currently are. I feel like people should be treating him like they were treating Matt Nagy, and they're not. But that's a story for a different day. But yeah, I think Mitchell, they'll just keep riding with odd hand, and like we mentioned,
Zee,
No one is-
you want to jump in this?
you want to jump into what?
I do think Shanahan's getting way too much leash right now. Everyone's like, for some reason, he's never in discussion for a hot seat. Nagy though, like you got chill. Like
He made it to the playoffs twice with Trubisky, bro.
okay, but Shanahan did bring them to a Super Bowl. Like
Trubisky's good. I don't know what your point is.
also,
I'd rather have Trubisky than Garoppolo, of course. But,
I mean, the thing like Shanahan brought them to the Super Bowl. That buys him a bit of time. So Nagy
does it though?
Yes,
It clearly has.
Clearly.
It didn't for Dougie P.
Well,
they fell off a fucking cliff though.
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
but the
know.
49ers have
Without-
been terrible besides that one year.
Without BDN, they don't win that Super Bowl.
Tougher division, to be fair.
Elijah Mitchell or
The NFC
Damian
Beast,
Harris?
bro.
Eli Mitchell.
Eli, yeah, Damian, Ramondre,
Elijah Mitchell or Michael Carter?
Elijah.
Eli.
Okay. So you guys answered that pretty quick.
I don't like.
Hand on the Bible right now, man. Come on. Give me the Eli Mitchell.
Or the Torah? I'm not gonna. I don't know.
I'm not Jewish. What are you talking about?
Oh, somebody. Oh, okay. I see.
We're putting it. I don't have him. I don't got to pray to nobody.
I'm Brian.
Elijah Mitchell or Josh Jacobs?
Eli.
Eli's an RB1. He's honestly right. He's right around J-Rob for me.
Wow, you guys are really high on Elijah Mitchell.
Why shouldn't you be? I would like. I could run a Kyle Shanahan offense and it would look pretty good.
Yeah, I just think historic, like you guys said, like you're
Love to
shocked
see
that
that.
he's using one running back and stuff like that. Jeff Wilson he obviously just wasn't involved, but you also have to consider that he's coming off an injury, hasn't played in X amount of weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like it's I think it's a little too soon to value Mitchell like that. I think if we see another game, right, where he's just dominating, like then I would agree with you dominating the touches. But just historically speaking, Shanahan offenses do not utilize just running backs.
If Wilson wasn't ready, they would have still had Sermon active. So Wilson was clearly ready, and they obviously you would have wanted to warm him up a bit with at least a few snaps, but I just don't think that's.
They also
Yeah.
they got shellacked pretty quickly, right? Like you blinked and that game was pretty out of hand for him.
Well, that's a perfect time to warm him up, and they still didn't.
Is it? You're not throwing as often. I mean, you're not running as often.
Yes, you are.
You're not
Exactly.
running.
So why would
opposite?
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I'm a little bit more skeptical on Mitchell being valued that highly. I still think he'll be phenomenal, irrespective of whether Jeff Wilson comes back and gets touches and stuff. He'll be serviceable, but I'm not that high. I wouldn't put him next to J-Rob. But we'll stay with the 49ers here, right? And another sell high candidate. What do you guys think? Deebo Samuel. What are your thoughts? Fun fact, and probably solely due to Deebo Samuel, I don't know why I said it like that. San Francisco ranks number 1 in terms of yards per completion at 12.3. So
he's the yak master. So good after the catch. I think I did say he was a solid candidate, but now I'm thinking about it. It might be tough to sell high now that Kittle's back. Ayuk's emerging. I still think Deebo is the most talented playmaker on that team. And so I still think he's going to find a way to get the ball. He was a top 3 receiver for the first 9 weeks. So, he's not going to be that anymore. But I still think he's a wide receiver 1. I think
Yeah, I mean, I have the stat right here: 463 yards after the catch, which leads the NFL this season. And then
should have went to Bama. He'd fit in right there.
That would have been a sick wide receiver room if he was there.
oh god,
It really was.
It already was, but
Yeah. So I mean, it's tough to sell him high if you can do it because again, there are some concerns, and he's not going to be that 20-point per game player he was.
yeah, I feel like we've been
low end wide receiver 1, but it's tough to sell high on someone. It might be too late to do it. I think when I sold him was probably,
which was last week.
Yeah, so right before Kittle came back was the time to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I still think you can, and this has been the theme of just the points that Zeba and I are on. It's just running backs are such a commodity. I feel like if you could get back an RB1 piece, you should do it. But I mean, he's proven even with Kittle back, definitely a really top flight receiver. It doesn't really matter who's in that quarterback. He's pretty much matchup proof. So I feel like sell high if you can get a running back, and maybe like depends on the structure of your roster. But yeah, it really just depends. Really does.
Would you?
Yeah, I'm surprised he
trade-
continues to be this consistent.
Yeah,
Would
me
you?
too.
Would you
good.
trade, or would you rather have Deebo Samuel or AJ Brown? So AJ Brown's been someone that's underperforming, right? But given the circumstance that he finds himself in, and given his history,
Deebo.
you'd rather Deebo in that situation.
I'm taking AJ there, but
I'm taking AJ Brown there.
I'll take Deebo there.
Big
I'll
E.
take AJ. I have more confidence in Tannehill than I do either Jimmy G or Trey Lance.
I'm trying to think of other names here that I would. Okay, well, who do you think finishes higher rest of the season? DK Metcalf, Russell Wilson coming back, or Deebo Samuel? I'm taking DK there.
I think I'd take DK. Not
I think I'd go DK too, but it's
I think I would
close.
go DK as well.
That one's close.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
So I mean that I guess proves the point. Anytime that you're trading the number 4 receiver or not trading, but he is the number 4 receiver on the year right now in half PPR. So definitely he did have a lower performance. He had I think 8.5, 8 points.
If he can blow up this week, then you sell him, I think.
Yeah, but I think the risk there is if you wait another week and it's another one of those performances where he doesn't do as well, then you're starting to lose that you lose the ranking over the year, right? Which is for some managers very, very important. I don't think it should be because you look at AJ Brown, for example, who's I think 28 on the year, and we'd rather, or majority of us would rather have him than Deebo. But I think if you wait another week and he puts up another bad performance, you're immediately losing value. So I would try to move him this week, and see what I can get. I mean, put out some feelers there, see what you can get. If you can upgrade, then I would say go ahead and do it. The 49ers this week are against the Rams, so their defense
Duel between the top 2 leading wide receivers in the league.
Yeah,
in terms of yards.
Who gets the J-Ram treatment there? You think it's Ayuk?
Deebo.
Yeah.
Why would they put Jay Ramsey on Ayuk?
Deebo goes out of slot a lot.
Eli
Ramsey
Mitchell.
could take him.
that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
J-Ram versus Eli.
Sean McVay.
We'll see. Really quickly, are you guys buying the Ayuk resurgence? A little off topic here, but while we're talking about receivers, I guess.
A little bit. There's not a lot of passing volume in that offense, especially with Kittle and Deebo. I mean, he's not. I don't think he's in the doghouse anymore. Even though he did fumble last week.
I mean, he did play 93% of the snaps last week.
Yeah, I think he's out of the doghouse for sure. He's a wide receiver 3, I think now, at least.
Wide receiver. Okay. All right. It's better than what he was before. So I'd like to see it again. I've been burned one too many times by big Ayuk. So we'll see. And then lastly, or actually we have Jordan Howard on here. Not really a crazy sell high candidate. Like obviously is someone that has value right now because of the Sanders injury, and then speculative value depending on how you feel about that backfield shaking out when Sanders does come back. But he's coming off of 2 good performances, right? And again, you are probably in a situation where you definitely picked him up off of waivers, right? If you're not the Sanders owner, maybe you try to trade him to see if you can get something like I don't know what you would trade him for, honestly.
Nothing.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
I like the idea of trading him to the Sanders owner though. If you could get
Yeah,
I like
I
that too.
wouldn't want Jordan Howard.
even
I
a
like
death
that too.
like a depth piece, like an RB2 wide receiver 3.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt, especially the Sanders owner, right? And you could probably get if you could get like a season-long like emergency play, like if you could, I would trade Jordan Howard for Mike Davis. Like if I could get Mike Davis personally.
Mike Davis stinks.
Mike Davis should be on every waiver wire in every league.
He should be in prison.
You see, I don't think so because
He stinks. Having said that, he's on my team.
find me a running back. He's stunk thus far, right? But find me a running back on the waiver wire that gets more than 8 opportunities.
Naheem Hines.
Ding, 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 ding.
Not necessary. Naeem Hines outside of this past week. If you
Ty
look at the previous
Johnson.
4 weeks.
Mike Davis is awful.
Yeah, no, you see,
Awful.
I think I'd still rather have. I'd have Mike Davis than any of those people that you mentioned.
What do you want for him? I'll trade him right away.
For what? I'll honestly, I'll look at it. If you want to give him
He's
back,
clearly willing to give Jordan Howard.
yeah. So I am just because we're best case scenario for him when Sanders comes back is he's in a three-way timeshare.
Nice.
Three-way timeshare there with Philly, whereas Mike Davis
Not gay if it's a 3-way.
hasn't been doing much, but
Shout out to Lonely Island.
he gets
Yeah,
the touch.
some honey in the middle, there's some leeway, you know.
He gets the touches, fellas.
Shout out to Andy Samberg.
Off the rails.
Jew.
All right, and then we'll
Absolutely, bro.
end our sell high segment at the absolute highest high, right? We talked about this briefly before the show, and it seems that I am the minority here, so I'll let you guys go first. Cooper Kupp.
Can I go
Right.
first?
Next. Please.
Yeah,
I think this is dumb to have him in this segment. And we
Go
should
ahead.
Yeah.
You're trading for the sake of trading. You're selling high for the sake of selling high. You sound like every Reddit user who's ever entered fantasy football subreddit. There's
Also, Mo has an addiction to trading.
that
So I
people-
think if you
Yeah.
have an addiction like Mo does, and you get off by trading, I think you might. This is
Yeah.
why, and Mo made the list. So I think that's why he's here.
he roster mates to every 3-way trade.
Yeah. I think the only way you're trading Cooper Kupp is if you're getting Jonathan Taylor in return for not trading Cooper Kupp.
Hey, yep.
Like, what are you doing trading him?
I'm defend yourself.
I just personally think he regresses. Like, I don't think he finishes the wide
To what?
receiver. I don't think he's the. If I could trade Cooper Kupp for Tyreek Hill, I would trade Cooper Kupp for Tyreek Hill.
Why?
1,000%. Because Cooper Kupp has been absolutely phenomenal this year, right?
Thanks.
But-
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, 100%.
You could read.
What?
You could
Yeah,
read
no,
a
I mean,
stat sheet.
number one receiver on the year, but if I could get someone like Tyreek Hill, which
But why?
because he could drop 40 in a week, right? Like Tyreek Hill drops.
Kupp.
No,
Kupp
That was a consistent 25 points.
consistent,
Yeah,
100%.
thanks.
I don't think that he continues this tear.
Why?
Well,
It's
I just
9
don't think.
weeks into the season.
I just don't think that he finishes the first overall wide receiver. Like I don't think that's an egregious take.
What has there been? The target share has been there. Like the offense hasn't changed. It's week in and week out. They get breakfast together. Like there's no denying it. Like
They gangbang each other's wives together. What are you talking
Hell
about?
yeah.
There's rapport there, but like I said, if I could get Devontae Adams, I would get Devontae Adams. 1,000%.
As a Devontae Adams owner, I would gladly trade him for Cooper Kupp.
You would trade Devontae Adams.
Hit Ethan's line.
All right.
Why would you not want Cooper Kupp on your team?
I just, again, I would rather just Devontae Adams, red zone target. Like Devontae Adams is everything, right? Like
Are you
15
not a
target,
believer in the white wide receiver, Mo?
15 target. It's not racial.
It's definitely some racial undertones.
It's not racial, but I just
He's not an athletic guy.
we've beat it. We beat the dead horse,
Sneakily
but
fast.
I think Cooper Kupp, like from now
Gym
until
rat.
the end of the season, I would put him like 5. I'd put him like
Who would
5.
you take over him?
Tyreek, 100%.
Wait, did you just say 5?
Yeah, 5. Tyreek, Devontae Adams.
Like Lamar Odom's speech on you from Stephen A.
His first move as the executive was to sign Lamar Odom. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Who was on crack?
Who was on crack?
I'm feeling.
Shout out to Lamar Odom. Shout out to Frank Gore.
Are you on?
Fighting.
Oh, and Darren Williams,
There,
Shout out.
former net. Let's go, baby.
Oh yeah.
Frank Gore. The GOAT.
Yeah,
Frank Gore's gonna
I personally think
shit
DK
out of him.
Metcalf will finish above Cooper Kupp rest of season.
All right, can we finish up
Call.
before
Yeah.
I
Call.
blow a brain cell?
Call it. All right. And then finally, Thursday night football, Ravens, Miami. Not a lot of crazy fantasy storylines here. Obviously, you're starting Lamar Jackson. He looks, phenomenal.
MVP.
The running back
Obviously.
situation is Latavius, not Latavius. Yeah, is Latavius Murray back at practice?
No.
No?
He's-
Okay. So it looks like it might be another Devonta Freeman week. If it is, Miami's defense is not good. So obviously you're starting-
Analysis.
obviously you're starting Devonta Freeman there. And then the wide receivers. Marquis Brown looked super solid.
He's a
Rashad
stud.
Hollywood.
He's a
What do you
stud.
got?
Who
Yeah.
is this kid?
Rashad Bateman looking to improve. I know Stens, you're a big Rashad Bateman believer. Sammy Watkins, did he practice today?
Who cares?
I think in
Next.
terms of Bateman's value, I think that's going to matter.
He's questionable.
All
Bateman,
right.
Bateman has the draft capital for him.
So we'll see.
He'll play.
We'll
You
see.
were-
And
you were
then-
Play
Yeah.
McSorley.
Duvernay and Bateman are better than Sammy Watkins.
Yeah.
And then Miami, right? Is how's
Is
Tua?
Yeah.
Tua,
Yeah.
is Tua gonna play?
Yeah.
He's questionable.
Yeah. So if it's Tua, it's great. If it's Jacoby Beef Brisket, you're in trouble.
No,
Doesn't
not
matter.
even Jalen Waddle. He's seeing 15 targets either way.
Yeah, not Jalen Waddle. Miami
Or
actually-
Gesicki.
Or Gesicki, yeah. Well, I
Gesicki's
think
a
Tua-
legend.
I think Tua hurts Gesicki.
Sleeper Salvon Ahmed this week.
I believe you pronounced that wrong.
Ahmed.
It's in Florida.
Ahmed. That's Muhammad. He should know.
How do you say it? Salvon Ahmed.
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 Like the dead terrorist.
Yeah, exactly. Miami ranks fifth in
Has
the
that
league.
dude gotten canceled yet?
I don't think so. I see his ads and shit everywhere now.
Really?
Shout out to
Jeff Dunham?
Durham. Denham,
Yeah.
whatever the
I
fuck
feel like
his
he's
name
like
is.
he has like a Vegas residency. I think he's one of
Probably.
those guys. Yeah.
He's that type of big.
Zebo, you touched on it. Jalen Waddle, obviously target machine. Miami ranks fifth highest in terms of pass attempts per game, right? So
Really?
they're throwing the ball a ton, likely because they're also behind a ton, but throwing the ball a lot. Do you guys have anything that you're looking
I mean,
for?
Devontae's still out, right?
No.
Still out. Preston's still out. Then Jalen Gesicki, last one standing.
Yeah.
How do
Fire
you
him
guys
up.
feel about Myles Gaskin this week? He's had some solid performances. Definitely
keep
better than
never-
the first half.
I would never feel good about starting him. Like literally.
Boomer, he's a boomer bust flex. It's a
Oh.
terrifying time to
Might
have
be
him in flex.
he might be someone I want to own like on a bye week where I have everyone gone and I just like I'm praying for like a 30 bomb just to like bring him back in. But like outside of like that, yeah, I would never feel good starting him.
What I do feel good about this week is the Baltimore spread because Baltimore
minus
beats
7.
up on the bad team. So take Baltimore
Yeah,
this
that's
week.
that's that. That's not a lot of points for Baltimore D.
Yep.
Fill
How much are they favored
the
by?
people in. What's the spread?
-7.
-7.
However-
-7.5 now.
However, the
Oof.
public is ass fucking that line. So I don't know. I don't
Huh?
think the line hasn't really moved a lot either.
Well, I hope they ass fuck the Dolphins this week. It's like an episode of South Park right there.
I was
I'll tell you, Baltimore is the second worst in the league in terms of pass yards against per game at 282.5. Obviously, it's Jacoby Beef Brisket in there, but that's
Beef,
something to also keep in mind. I think, like Zebo said, Jalen Waddle is a fantastic start this week. Could
No
definitely-
shit.
Could definitely see him finishing as a
solid analysis.
very high-end wide receiver too, perhaps.
Would you trade him for Cooper Kupp, Mo?
Suck my cock. That being said, that's all we have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of the Fantasy Four. If you haven't heard the spiel about the giveaways and all that, just go to our website. Everything's there. www.thefantasy4.com. And we will be back next week to break down week 10 and look forward to week 11. Thank you guys so much, and we'll catch you next time.